We are delighted that you're joining us for another podcast of Wake Up Aligned, and it is the podcast for chiropractors, where we get to talk about chiropractic lifestyle, and topics of interest. You can contact us through our email, and that is mailbag@amcfamily.com. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Wake Up Aligned. I am your host, Dr. Shannon McMurtry, and got a very special episode for you today. I'm here in studio with Dr. Greg Miller.
Greetings, Doc.
Yeah, nicely done. Didn't sound staged at all.
No, not at all.
And we have a couple of really amazing AMC-aligned clients. They've been clients for a long time, and Dr. Miller's here because he is their mentor. And their names are Doctors Kyle and Savanna Lorenz. Say hi to everybody.
Hey, guys.
Hello.
All right. Very good. See, this is so easy. They were a little nervous, listeners, a little nervous about doing the podcast. And I assured them that you don't bite. So
it's not the podcast. It's you.
It is me. Yeah. Plus, if we get hate mail, they're not going to see any of that anyway. It's all going to come to me. So
it was one of my goals at the beginning of the year to make it on a podcast. It wasn't specifically this one. It was a bigger podcast show with David Green and Rob Abasolo. But hey, I'll take the biggest and baddest chiropractic podcast.
There you go. Okay. They might hear this one, and then here we go.
Unfortunately, because he mentioned another podcast, he has to pay the advertising cost, which is $1,000. So that is unfortunate for you. But hey, that's the terms. So we're gathered, listeners, because my mentor years ago shared an idea and a concept with me about what does success look like. And back in that day, when he was learning how to be successful and what it took, they used to give out medallions that would recognize exceptional work and growth and that kind of stuff. And he's sitting in the audience watching people get their awards and their medallions, and he asks himself, what does success really look like? And this person over here, you know, they're blind in one eye. That person over there has got a crooked nose because it was broken. This person over here is short, fat, wearing real thick glasses. You know, success in the real world is not what the media or the movies or that whatever makes it out to be, right? The great looking folks that were born into money, and that's not success in America. Success in America is much different than that. So I've always wanted to do a podcast that really addressed that, because I hear people making excuses about their situation because, well, we didn't have the advantages that other people have had. Well, how do you know the advantages other people have had if you haven't walked in their shoes and whatever, right? So listeners, if this is something that is engaging with you, buckle up. I think we're going to have a really great podcast today. We're going to start with Doctors Lorenz, and then the mentors are going to have a kind of a debrief and kind of let you in to that behind the scenes debrief on what does success look like. So got any words to say on this before we get rolling?
You know, I think you're exactly right. When we get caught up in, I'll just call it social media, and you're looking at what's going on in somebody's life and you're thinking, man, they have it all together. They're only showing you the very best of what's going on for them. And you don't always see what really is happening behind the scenes. And John 10:10 says, the enemy comes only to steal, to kill, and destroy. But Jesus said, I have come that you may have life and have it abundantly. And when I think of success, I think of abundance, and that's the way we're created. We're supposed to have abundance. So that's what I am hoping we hear today.
Absolutely. So let's do a couple of shout outs, because there are people that are living up to whatever it takes, and I'm willing to put in the work and whatever. First honorable mention that I want to share with everybody today is Dr. Ragozine. You know Dr. Ragozine?
I do, yes.
And on his honorable mention that was submitted, it says, first sentence, he's been working really hard at getting the system into his practice, et cetera, et cetera. He's $10,000 over where he started, his average before coming to AMC Aligned, and that's in the month of October, right? The 10,000 came after he's working really hard at putting the system into place, right? Another one, Dr. Jeremiah Bursch. I think everybody here knows Dr. Jeremiah. He actually is a frequent presenter at our summits with a philosophy class. Dr. Jeremiah Bursch closed 100% of his new patients in the month of October. his PVA, the average retention, the average number of visits he has with his patients, has been over 50 5 years in a row. And he's debt-free. He and his family are completely debt-free except for their home mortgage, right? That's work. But somebody who doesn't understand him, know him the way we do, might see him today and say, well, I could do it too if my home was paid for. I could do it too if my PVA was 50. I don't think they could because they don't know how to get the PVA of 50 and they don't know how to produce revenue. So
that's interesting. I was Dr. Birch's original mentor way back when he first
and he made it anyway. So let's
with AMC, and he made it anyway. Okay, is that how we're going to roll today?
We'll see. We'll see what makes it out of the edit.
He's an awesome guy, and he has come a long ways. And having a system behind that has made all the difference in the world for him, for sure.
So let's talk to Drs. Lorenz. Docs, by every measure of, external, any external way you want to take a look at it, you guys are successful. You don't have to share your numbers with the listeners, but you guys are successful compared to chiropractic profession as a whole. Would you agree with that? All right. I understand you're humble. I understand you don't want to be thought of as haughty or arrogant, but let's be honest. Dr. Kyle, you've been able to take some bucket list hunting trips in the past few years, correct?
I got a big bucket list one coming next year, actually.
All right. And my understanding is these things are not, packing $50 into the woods to buy your ticket. And we're talking about several thousands of dollars to go on these trips. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. Dr. Savanna, in her sparkly pants today, she has a boot fetish. So I understand that you collect a lot of cowgirl boots and things, right? Right. And I'm not a cowboy or cowgirl boot person. So
clearly
not wearing boots today. I think that might surprise a lot of people.
You guys have the right kind of house. You've got the right kind of investments. You're successful.
In a certain eyes of people, I could see that.
Maybe you're not done yet. Maybe you're not successful based on your terms. But compared to the average, you're successful. Okay. Are you fulfilled in what you're doing?
100%.
Right. You got a good marriage?
Yes.
Great.
Better sometimes than others, right?
Best that I know of.
That's great.
Yeah. So money isn't everything that is successful, right? I don't think money is the end all be all when it comes to success.
Yeah, that's why we're in AMC because of that, because money isn't what's making us successful. AMC taught us how to be successful in way other different aspects of life, and money just became part of that. It becomes part of your results so that you can help more people and fulfill that purpose more.
Have an associate now?
Yep.
Okay.
He's awesome.
Rental property?
Yep.
All right. You guys started 11 years ago, correct?
Yep.
That is correct.
So obviously it was easy for you because you had a lot of money 11 years ago.
That is incorrect.
We had no money.
We were $1.45 million in debt at one point.
You were $1.45 million in the hole.
Correct.
I didn't know that.
$489,000 in student loan debt. And that was, 12 years ago now?
Mm-hmm.
So
And
now they're coming out with even more. That was with both of us.
Sure. Yeah.
and pregnant.
Yeah.
Which one of you were pregnant? Okay.
No, pregnant.
You got to have a little fun, Doctor.
Hey, that's all right.
So 1.4 million in debt, pregnant, living with your parents. Okay.
Not practicing where we wanted to practice, how we wanted to practice.
Okay. Can you contextualize that without giving too much away? Like, how were you practicing and how was it different from what you really wanted?
So I worked part-time for a guy that had severely injured himself. So I would go in for a few hours, few days a week, and then he paid me cash to go in there and see some patients for him. I also worked for an independent, or as an independent contractor for her boss in a satellite office, and I bartended on weekends and evenings. So I was working 3 different jobs when I first got started before we joined with AMC. The biggest promotion that I got was probably when the associate I was working with had a tibial plateau fracture from a ski accident up in Breckenridge, and he could no longer practice. So I got a job offer to become the new associate while he was healing up.
Dr. Savanna, were you working only as the associate in that clinic that he was moonlighting in sometime, or?
No, I was a tech, and then I passed boards, and we met with some friends of ours who were part of the AMC family.
Sure.
And I always wanted to own my own practice.
Right.
And so there was a drive there and an interest. I just didn't know how to do it. Okay. Didn't have the money to do it. Could never foresee doing that without having money. So once we met with them and kind of then talked about things, I was like, ooh, I want to know about this. There's procedures there. Like she kind of talked over like a little bit of the system, but said she couldn't share it. Yeah. And so I wanted more.
Yeah, they were very secretive. They were trademark secrets and would not let us see much within their books.
Yeah.
For real, they would not open those things for us.
Yeah. So I wanted to see more. You know, I'd caught one fish and it was fun, so I wanted to catch some more. So then we went to St. Louis, right?
Yeah, we called them on Monday.
Let me interrupt for you because she just said, young Dr. Savanna. Did you guys catch what she said about that? Like, I didn't know how to get that practice of my own without money, which is where I think a lot of our listeners are. Like, how do I get there when I'm on 1.4 behind and I don't have access to resources, right? So who she used to be is that person that I think we're targeting on this podcast today. All right. So go ahead, pick up the story there.
We were at a point where we had just got married. I was turning in wedding presents or exchanging wedding presents, whatnot, to get money on a gift card to then get groceries, to get toilet paper and things like that.
Right.
I mean, scraping by thinking, but we were happy because we were newlyweds and that was fun. And
we didn't hate our lives.
But we knew there was more there. So then we didn't have anything. We packed a cooler. I don't even know how we paid for the hotel room. So we went to St. Louis with nothing and left there with everything. We just didn't know it yet.
Brought food with you.
When there was snacks given out, we would take those snacks and we would raid those snacks. And, I encourage if there are snacks for people and you don't feel guilty taking them, they're there for you to take. And y'all provide that stuff for a reason. But then we sat down and went over everything. From the get-go, I loved it.
Sure.
Loved how it opened, the encouragement, listening to people's stories never gets old.
Right.
Like even today, I just love listening to every single person's story. But then when we sat down to sign the contract, how he's saying, I swiped that credit card. Yeah, with the force of my hand, he had to swipe that credit card because
I was a little hesitant.
He flat out told Dr. Saley.
Dr. Saley.
Yes. I'm going to take this back and talk with my father-in-law and see what he has to say about this and things like that. And I right away said, no, we're doing this. And we did. And then we started with Dr. Hall.
Yeah.
I was pregnant, so we had to open when we weren't supposed to open.
Right.
He continued to actually work for my father while we opened.
At that time, and even now, when somebody gets to that point and says, yep, I'm on board, signs the agreement, one of the things that we do is cast a vision for us of what you want to accomplish. Set a goal. Can you go back there and tell the audience what that goal was? What was your idea of success at that time?
In the first month? Like a collections?
Sure.
Or getting open. I mean, what was the goal you left the meeting with? Yeah.
Our goal was actually
getting out of my mother-in-law's basement.
Yeah. And we didn't live there very long. We lived there for a couple weeks because we just didn't want to be there. And I was pregnant.
Right.
And love my parents' dad. They live across the pasture from us now. But
just getting a roof over our head was a big goal here right away.
The fear of failure as well. My parents are very successful. His dad owns a successful practice. He owned 2 at the time. I encouraged Kyle to not move back to Wisconsin and take on the second practice.
Question?
Yep.
You had a dad who had successful practices, Dr. Kyle. You had a family that was successful in their own right. Were they not helping you? Were they not willing to get you funded? I mean, did you have a leg up? Did you refuse it because you wanted to do it on your own?
Exactly.
Oh, you want to be your own independent people, not beholden to anybody.
Correct.
Yeah, yes and no, I guess. I mean, our family never gave us a building to open up the practice center or anything along those lines. They did give us some encouragement. They did let us live with them for a short period of time. And the only help that I did get, and it was immense help, was my father-in-law did co-sign the initial business loan. I think it was $40,000 back in the day.
$42,000.
Yeah. The banks required a co-sign for opening up the business, but not for our first vehicles.
Gotcha.
But his dad had a practice for him all ready to take, but not a successful practice. And I don't mean any ill of that, but it was in a very small town. It was more of seeing it was a friendship practice that in Wyoming has a lot of hunting, and we were going back to Wyoming eventually. But so it's just not something I wanted. I wanted to build something on my own and it be mine. Like I said before, I didn't know how to do it. And so when we started and there was lists of things to do, I just did it. I didn't try to perfect something that I didn't know how to do. I listened to what Dr. Hall told me to do, and I did it diligently, efficiently, effectively, and as fast as I could because I was pregnant. I didn't want student loan payments over my head. And so he worked for my dad. Well, I did all of that. And then we opened early because of my pregnancy. And then we profited our first month.
Yeah, we were just revisiting that here not too long ago. I think it was like $700 or something the first month. We profited.
Yeah.
But you took off after that.
Oh yeah, after that first month, I think we doubled the next month. And then within a year, we were collecting 10x what we did our first month.
Yeah.
So what does success look like? Think about that. They're 1.4 million in the hole. They can't even buy groceries with their own money without trading in wedding gift cards and wedding presents. They can't come to the summit meeting and buy food. Success, maybe what does success look like? Number one, it's not taking the easy way when you know that's not your way, right? He had an opportunity to walk right into a practice, but it wasn't what they wanted. And they wanted to stand on their own, right? I can't imagine how I would feel having that much debt and that much frustration, pressure, whatever it may be, working 3 jobs, knowing I could step into a practice, just not the practice I wanted. Because I know what I would say, like, I'll do that for a while. And I know there are people who do that for a while and that becomes a lifetime, right? They step into that opportunity thinking this will be temporary and it becomes their reality forever. So I never knew that part of it. I never knew that you guys were that bullheaded to just say, we're going to do this our way because this is our vision, our future, our marriage, our practice, our careers. So let's just fast forward to where you are now, 13 years. You don't have to share numbers, but was it worth it? Because there was work, right? Work. Did you have to challenge your thinking about things?
Yes.
Was it always something that was easy and comfortable for you to do?
No.
Rarely.
Was there a lot of hard work?
Yes.
Did the first time you tried something, did it work out perfectly and always fell to your favor?
No, sir.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah. But was it worth it that whole time?
I would go back and do it all over again if I knew the outcome was going to be exactly the same.
What's the scale there? Like you started at 1.4 in the hole and you're willing to do it all over again if you had to. What if I said you got to start 2 million in the hole? Would you do it over again?
Yes.
Knowing what I know now, yes.
2.5 in the hole?
Yep.
4 million?
It'd still be up.
10 million?
That'd be a little bit of a tougher one. I think I might have gone a different route.
It was worth it, right?
Yes.
And it didn't come because you had a leg up and because everybody wanted to do you a favor and you were just naturally acclimated to what we were recommending.
Right. And I would, like, for women, I'd keep in mind, like, you can still have a family and have babies. That's a perk of owning your own practice.
Sure.
Is that I didn't just go on a maternity leave for, 12, 16 weeks every time I had a child.
Right.
You're back in, you're working like the next couple of days. And I was back in practice within 2 weeks, 3 weeks of each child. But you can bring your child there and they can sit in your back office.
Sure.
And patients don't need to know they're there.
Sure.
and you can still serve your community and be there and be at your practice. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Where are you going to be in 10 years? Obviously, you'll still be here, right? Because you found your source.
Right.
Where are you guys going to be in 10 years? Like, what's the ultimate vision, do you think? Do you want to share that with anybody? Dr. Savanna's smiling at me broadly, so I may have stepped into something there, listeners.
Well, we have the ability to retire right now, but not the want to retire here right now. So
I'm gonna give you a second to think on that, because our call this past week was actually on that same topic, and he shared with me that they have the ability to retire and live at the exact level that you're living now indefinitely.
Correct.
I heard in his voice, I've been working with him with you guys for 18 months now, probably, that you came back, or is it 2 years?
About 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was June of 2021 when we came back.
Okay. So they're always very optimistic. Their calls are absolutely a joy. Yeah. But I heard more get up and go in his voice on our last call when he was able to say, and then you made a statement that now is where it's going to get fun.
Oh,
you remember saying that?
Yeah, because for a while, money is the goal when you're living in a scarcity like mindset where I need to make money to pay for my kids. I need to make money to make sure that the bank doesn't repossess my house. But after the house is paid for, the vehicles are paid for, there's a pile of money sitting in your retirement account, and you own enough real estate income where it completely replaces your what you need to survive. And I have the ability to walk away. Well, now I'm just doing it because I like to do it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Because you love
I live for the chiropractic side of it. The money that we make now is just to create generational wealth. We don't live off the best month that we ever had. It's not our job to try to, or a goal to live paycheck to paycheck. We try to live a fun lifestyle where I can get to go on hunting trips, and she likes to go sit on the beach, and our next trip will probably be to Italy. I still want to be able to do those kind of things, but as our second business has grown here as well too, outside of the AMC, money is just chips at this point.
Yeah,
we're just trying to
like the big trips. Yeah, that comes and goes, and that's awesome. But our day-to-day life it's
awesome.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I go to work. I'm happy to be with everyone that I'm working with.
We love our team that we work with. Our patients love us. The community loves us. We love the community. I mean,
it's enjoyable to go to work.
Mm-hmm. But like you said, as I've changed, me sitting in that class 12 years ago, I'm a very different person now.
Yes, ma'am.
I've gone through ebbs and flows of things that I think a lot of times too, even in my life, where confidence came off as cockiness to people on the outside. But I've become such a humble Christian woman that I'm just not affected by certain things anymore, where it's just, our day to day is entirely less stressful feeling than people probably think. People are always saying, wow, you seem stressed, or you have a very stressful life, where it doesn't feel stressful at all. I know it's there, but over the years and things we've learned through AMC and different, outlooks, it's just fun. It's easy. It's different.
It's a very special thing for you guys to come and join us and just open it up and give us a glimpse of that story, that journey, that humble beginnings, where you are now. And I just really appreciate it for us in this room, because I learned some things that I didn't know. But just imagining who's hearing this in their car or through their smartphone on the exercise bike or whatever, and just thinking they sound like real people. Maybe I can do this too. Because there's hope. Because this podcast is hopefully going to live on forever, right? So there'll be people that you'll never meet that are probably motivated and inspired by just what you shared. And I just really appreciate it. Any final thoughts, Dr. Greg or Dr. Lorenz?
Practice with your spouse or work with your spouse. It's fun.
That depends on the spouse.
He was saying something the other day, or he sent me something. What's that Dave Ramsey thing that you said about the percentage of successful or financial success in marriage comes with couples who work together?
Oh, okay.
And it's like a no-brainer, right. He talks about. And so I couldn't agree more. However, Kyle and I we have a biased mindset with that because both of our parents work together.
I see.
Kyle and I don't know any different.
This is the way it's supposed to be.
He's the one silver spoon we were given.
Well, if I was married to Kyle, I would work with him. I would choose to do that. So if she ever treats you badly, Kyle, just let me know.
She is CEO. So
all right. Thanks again for joining us, and we really do appreciate it.
Very, very much. Thank you so much.
Right.
Thank you for having us.
Follow our show. You can share it with friends, of course, and we'd love for you to contact us at mailbag@amcfamily.com. In addition, you're always invited to attend or join us at a summit. Of course, registration is required, and we would love for you to check out the loads of free content we provide to social media every single week. Until next time.